everyone, welcome back. If it's your first time here, my name is Jinx. We are currently working through the Budget Moms 2025 Budget by Paycheck Workbook. So it is still 2024, but I did want to go ahead and start planning on this piece right here. I wanted to work on the budget categories. You can see probably some of my erasing smudges in here because I've been shuffling around, working on some scratch paper, just kind of really hammering this down. Now, as I use these, this might change, and that's okay. I think with budgeting, a good budget covers a few things. It covers and has room for fun, if and where you're able, even if it's just a little bit. Even if it's just some little treat or reward, something you like for yourself, whether it's a nice cup of coffee or maybe a piece of candy you like. It doesn't even have to be something expensive, but I think it's important to have like room for real life. Because if you're too stringent, then it makes it really difficult to keep up long term. And another good thing a budget should have is it should be sustainable. It should be something that you actually not only want to do, but can do. So, and temporarily, obviously, there's going to be phases where you buckle down a little bit more, but in the long term, I found that it was better to leave some breathing room for myself and give space for myself for, some forgiveness, some grace, some hiccups. With planning, you can plan everything in the world, but sometimes life just happens, and sometimes not everything could go according to plan. I really struggled with this with my mental health, but I finally have gotten to a place where I'm comfortable with the fact that even though this is where I'm starting, where I feel like I am, as I continue on my mission, some things might just be subject to change. So, some changes I thought I would add going forward is one. You see my first category here, we have our normal bills, right? House, electric, utilities, sewer, gas bill. We have a gas stove, so that's where that one comes in. Internet, and then I added this maintenance here, which you'll see a little bit when I actually get into November. I thought that would be super helpful because when I was filling out my savings goals for the year, a house maintenance, that would even help me for my HOA here. And so on and so forth. And when you own a home, I do just feel like a house maintenance category is just good to have. So I did add that in going forward. And what I'm going to be doing is with November and December, even though I have the 2025 book, I went through and printed out the sheets so that I could use these 2 months as a trial period. I could tweak it, I could work on it. So that's why you see this here. So we're starting this now, but it's going to carry into 2025. And again, we'll just make changes as it needed, and that is okay. Food, you'll see 3 categories here. Dining and grocery, obviously. I do have yums on here. These are things because I like to track for those things I just get for myself. It's not my husband and I went for ice cream kind of thing as a date. It's I went and did something for myself. As you can see, I'm very highly food-oriented, food-motivated. So usually if I want a little treat, something like coffee or an ice cream, maybe a bagel is the kind of things that I like to reward myself with. So that's what this yums category is. So I kind of keep that in there, but it is still food. I just like to know how much I spend on myself and how much is more of a household expenditure. Here we have the subscription rotation. I talked about this in my last video. I'll leave a link for it for you guys, but this one was narrowed down. Right now Crunchyroll is our only subscription, so I got that good. The car, personal, I've narrowed this down. I'm just keeping personal as like my miscellaneous. If I want shampoo, etc., personal's just going to pick that up because I split out some of these further down. Health, I have one medical bill that I pay. The other, I do have one other medical bill, but it's covered by my HSA. So I only have one that I pay, and then additional medical is more like my contact lenses, prescriptions, things like that. So I do have that separated out. Income, payroll, other. That one was pretty simple. Where I split from personal, I wanted to start a pay it forward category. And this can kind of include birthday gifts, fundraisers, donations, etc. If I see a person in need on the street, I just wanted to have a small section for that, as well as being someone who really needed a lot of things once upon a time and a lot of help. This is kind of my fund for, as it says, to pay that forward future on. So I'm very happy about this one. And then hobbies, I'm splitting off because, as you can see, I have YouTube, I have art, I have Pokemon, which shouldn't surprise anyone. I love Squishmallows and Pokemon plushies. I have a whole collection, and you'll see on my channel, I also collect master sets of Pokemon. Budgeting, so this is kind of the hobbies, and since YouTube, I've just started on this, I kind of wanted a better track of how much is going towards this. So that is where the hobbies fall. So my personal are strictly things for me to function, if you will. Clothing, I don't really spend money on nails, I'm sure you could tell. But if I did, that's kind of where the actual personal will be. And then for things that just bring me joy and this channel, etc., I split that out into hobbies. And we're going to see how that goes. So I'm very excited about that. I did assign colors already. And what I did, I almost broke down and bought a whole new set of highlighters. I have a weakness for office supplies. I know I've said that before. I will say it again. It's a problem. Okay. So, and I had noticed I liked some of my highlighters from one set, some from another set, etc. And I almost bought a whole nother set because I was like, well, they're already coordinated and how nice, but it wasn't necessary. And the one thing I was telling myself is like, well, I really like this one, but I like that it's transportable and easy to throw in my bag. And I stopped myself, thankfully. I did use the 24-hour method. I did save them onto my wish list and kind of waited, let myself think about it and be like, do you really need this? And the answer was no. I found a solution with things I already had, which I actually had a lot of fun with. This concept you probably see a lot in budgeting communities is called shopping your own closet. I shopped my own art and office supplies because I have a whole room of art and office supplies. So as I was digging out, so I wanted some cute post-its, and as digging around, I found these I still had from back in college, and I know because they're from Staples. And when I got my college supplies, I did a bulk order from Staples because they were the cheapest ones at the time. And I still have these, so we're just reutilizing this. This bag is one that I just had with my travel stuff, and it was about the perfect size. It does zip pretty far on this side, but it does absolutely do the job. It looks like it's an old Ipsy bag. I'm sure a lot of us have these, so I just kind of combine that there. Move that pen, because I had switched to these. Pens, and you can see some of my erase marks, so they don't erase perfectly, but I do like the fact that they do erase at all. I really like these friction pens. I bought only 2 or 3 of them just to try them out, so I didn't buy a whole case. I am prone to do that. So these I have been trialing just to see. Again, they do erase, but it definitely doesn't erase everything. So as I was doing this, I was grateful for the erase. I will say you don't need this per se. If you're still hammering things out, I would suggest just using pencil or something that can't erase, and then you can always go back over it. But I do have this one. And then here are the highlighters I did. Boop. So I just pulled, and shocker, shocker, a couple of these were from the Budget Mom, as you can see. And while I did like some of them, she seems to like a lot of the brighter, bolder colors, which is absolutely fine. I tend to like the more like either pastel or moodier colors, darker if you will. So I picked out my favorites. I will say this yellow is my absolute favorite. It's instead of like highlighter yellow like you would suppose normally see, you can see it's a lot more of a true gold or orange. So I really like this one. So I just pulled out my favorites of both of my sets. And forget my check and scratch here, but I just honestly went through, these were only half of my highlighters. I went through some of my highlighters, just kind of put them and then picked out my favorite ones out of the combinations. You can see more here. And then just assign the colors that way. That way I didn't tell myself I needed new highlighters when I didn't. And then you see, because I'm neurotic, I went through and use my label maker to actually label which ones go which. My key also does that, so it's not as necessary, it's just something extra because I enjoy this kind of thing. If you don't have a label maker, my go-to, I always have my favorite Sharpie. This is the bronze metallic one, and I have this from yesteryears, which I could go back and show you at some point, but my first cash envelope system was just black envelopes, and I would just label them with this bronze Sharpie, and it pops off very well, and I really love these. So I started with that, and then that way I made myself a transportable, which is what I thought I needed to spend more money on, version of my favorite colors. And when I tell you that the colors I wound up with were almost identical to the ones I was looking at, I'm not even kidding. It was hilarious. The one that was really pulling me was the yellow, and I was like, I already have a really good yellow. So I'm proud of me. That was a impulse buy that I avoided for myself and just used a budget, make from home little care bag that I can take with me if I'm at our local card shop, if I'm at my kitchen table, whichever. Here at my office, I just take this bag with me and it's always on hand. So that was something fun I did for myself today. I also went through and added, you can see, as I talked about a minute ago, in a previous video, I was kind of going through the annual expenses and some of my savings goals here. And I went through the visuals and labeled each ones that I wanted to use. You can see my first one that'll be coming up is that HOA in January. I have it for 300. So I went through and kind of broke out with how many leaves there are and labeled. So I can mark my goal towards that. You can also see here we have vacation. This one 5,000. I know. You can also see I had to add a couple extra leaves in here to make it fit a little bit better, but to each their own. It works, it does the job, so I just added a few extra to make that happen. And then, let's see, some of the other ones, these are kind of more obvious ones. I have for taxes, I wanted to have 250, so I have this one broken up and set up. Amex for my membership in May. Mint, that happens in July, so I've got it all set up. Property taxes, this will be next December, and yes, I already have it on here. I'm waiting for that amount to come in, that way I know what's due for this year, but I'm going to use that to kind of have a good guesstimate for next year, so I'm more prepared for that as well. The other two, for Christmas, I have $300 that I'd like to have next year for Christmas, so I'm going to start this in January as well. And then Light Day, so this is a new thing. For anyone who doesn't know me, another one of my hobbies and collections, I am currently getting through or working my way through the Stormlight archive from Brandon Sanderson. He is one of our favorite authors. Honestly, probably our favorite author at this point. We're actually going to Dragonsteel next month. I'm very excited about it, but they're starting a thing, and they started it this year, so I wasn't able to quite plan this out, but they started it this year where a lot of his books, merchandise, etc. go on sale in October, and it was a way that they could do so that their small team can be off on the holidays and not have to work like Thanksgiving weekend and stuff. And I really thought that was great. So instead of doing Black Friday next year, I have Light Day marked down because one of the things my husband and I are also collecting are his leather bound and special editions. I have quite the collection started, as does he. While he was stationed overseas, he actually got a couple of different international editions of some of his books. I did do Light Day this year, and I used part of my vacation budget that I had set aside for our trip because I was planning on buying some of the books anyway while we were there. But if they're going to put it on sale, and it was on my wish list anyway, and I already had it budgeted and paid for, but I could spend less and not haul it across an airport, I was all about it. So I went ahead and picked up the last of the special editions. I'll unbox those for you guys if you're interested once they come in. And then I picked up a signed leather bound by him on Light Day. So I thought for next year it would be really fun to just go ahead and have that planned because I know myself and I'm going to see shiny, pretty special edition books and I'm going to want them. So, and I like the cause. So it's a win-win for me. So I have that all planned out for next year. So those are my savings goals and my budget categories. Again, we're going to get more into this. I did do some sketching. I'll reveal that later on January. I'm going to color that out and I'll show you guys when I finish it. It looks super cute. I'm very excited about it. But next time I'll get on here and I will show you guys November. I did finally get this hammered out. So I will see you there. Bye.